you're in control. Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose their lives out on a limb.
Look, and they're going to continue to keep talking. You know, this press conference was kind of funny. You know, it started off really, really slow. In fact, if you want to see it, you can go to the Matchroom boxing page. But the fight is official. Frank Warren didn't make the trip, but you're going to have Billy Joe Saunders, WBO 160-pound champion, versus Demetrius Andrade or Andrade in the TD Bank Arena or Center or whatever it's called, basically where the Boston Celtics play. And the card, honestly, is better than I thought it would be. So you would have to understand how Eddie Hearn does his cards in regards to stacking them up. The same thing he's been doing over in the UK, he's using the same formula over here. One thing is for certain is that if you're an Eddie Hearn fighter, he will keep you active. You will fight at least 3 times a year if you want to. So you got Billy Joe Saunders versus Andrade for the WBO belt. You got Tevin Farmer versus James Tennyson. For Farmers, recently won IBF 130-pound title. Kid Galahad, Katie Taylor versus CINDY Serrano, Danny O'Connor versus Tommy Coyle. Scott Quigg is going to be on the card. It's unknown against who. And, of course, basically you can see that the ticket selling strategy, of course, which is a smart one, obviously, is in Boston. You want to get that Irish crowd. So they got Billy Joe Saunders, the champion of the world, who will probably, never fight in Boston again. And then, him being Irish and the link to, the traveler community. And, Katie Taylor, then, Tennyson from Ireland. So, that's the selling point right there. Just like when they have the October the 6th card, they have Tomas Adamek on the card, to try to cater. And also Jesse Vargas to bring in those Mexican and the heavy Polish supporters in Chicago. So, there's nothing wrong with it. It's smart. In regards to Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders, listen, both of these guys haven't fought in quite some time. In fact, Billy Joe Saunders' last fight, their fights were about a month apart or so, right? His last fight was against David Lemieux on HBO in December of last year. The reason why I said he took that fight, even though he was the champion, in the backyard of David Lemieux, is because he won the 2 fights in the 2017 calendar year. Because if he waited, it would have fell over into this year, which would have been another year where he only had 1 fight. So he fought Willie Monroe, in September. Then 3 months later, he fought David Lemieux. Now, remember, he was supposed to fight Martin Murray earlier this year, but he, it's safe to say that he backed out of the fight for whatever reason. He said it was an injury, but the fact that Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Golovkin, basically said there was a contract done and they were going to go that route, pretty much confirms that the injury wasn't that severe enough for him to have backed out of the fight. But whatever the case may be, still a big Billy Joe Saunders supporter. The past is the past, and now he's fighting Demetrius Andrade in a fight that fans want to see. Now, don't get it twisted. Inside the ring, don't expect for this to be a fight of the year candidate. I would be surprised, because they're both apprehensive type fighters where they're counterpunchers. However, Billy Joe Saunders is a really good mover. He may not look it here, but Billy Joe Saunders got some legs on him, especially if you've seen what happened with the Chicken Gate incident in Nando's. And I haven't never been to Nando's, but I found out a lot about Nando's over the last couple of weeks. And from what people have been telling me is that, Nando's is one of them type of places where you don't waste the chicken. People look at you like, yo, you fucking, So it wasn't his chicken and whatever. Anyway, Chicken Gate has been closed. Him and Wilder, squashed the chicken beef, and now we are moving on. So a lot of people wanted Frank Warren or thought Frank Warren was going to show up to this event. Remember, Billy Joe Saunders is a Frank Warren fighter. Understand this fight means so much because now we see that Billy Joe Saunders is fighting on the DAZN, a rival platform in the United States. So what does that mean is that the possibility of Billy Joe Saunders, if he wins against Demetrius Andrade or vice versa, has a very good chance to fight the winner of Sergey Derevchenko and Danny Jacobs, which is taking place a week after this fight, October the 27th in New York. So, you're going to have October the 6th. You're going to have October the 6th, Eddie Hearn's card in Chicago. Then October the 20th in October the 20th in Boston, and then October the 27th, even though it's HBO, is going to be in New York. So he's supposed to have a November card in LA, and then they're going to hit Vegas and so on and so on. So he's on a nice little roll, especially with the signing of Tevin Former, which is a whole nother video that I have to talk about. But nonetheless, I'm thinking I'm giving Billy Joe Saunders the edge. So let's go look at Demetrius Andrade. Last fight against Alantez Fox, which was, by the time he steps into the ring, it'll be a 4-year, just about a year. Obviously, he's fighting on the 20th. Last time he fought was last year, October the 21st. Jack Houquet, he didn't look good in that fight. Willie Nelson, untelevised fight against Puerto. Brian Rose, he said at the press conference the biggest win of his career was Venice Martirosyan. Let me go back. 1 minute. He was trying to holler at this chick in the crowd.
To win. Hey! 1-0. 2. Abraham, my bad, Abraham.
I forgot what I was looking for. I forgot the time mark. I'm supposed to write these stuff.
Got his desire. But before I would sign up to lose this fight, on my kid's life, I'd rather die in a plane crash on the way home than lose to this man. Because there's too much at stake. I am number one and I will prove it. But thank you very much to Boston. Thank you very much to Matchroom. Thank you very much to all of you boys. And I'll see you all on.
I forgot the time mark.
That's all I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I've been in with world-class opposition.
It's funny.
They all go on about Chris Eubank, another one, I dealt with him. They go on about Andrade, I dealt with him. Willie Monroe, no heart, no bottle, no desire to win. But that's one thing I've got is desire. But before I would sign up to lose this fight, on my kid's life, I'd rather die in a plane crash on the way home than lose to this man. Because there's too much at stake. I am number one.
I mean, believe it or not, people were saying that he was going to lose to Willie Monroe. People were saying that David Lemieux was going to knock his head off. So a lot of fans really, were angry at Billy Joe. It was like, he's holding the belt hostage over there. But if you look at the timeline, he really was trying to get big fights. But, he was trying to get either Canelo or Golovkin, and his career at one point in time was revolving around them. Even when he fought Wolverine, this guy right here, go look him up, no bullshit. Like Artur Akavov, he looked like shit. Go watch the post-fight interview. He's come a long way. And even though, his momentum took a little bit of a hit in regards to the inactivity between the David Lemieux and now the Andrade fight, in between, Billy Joe is a funny dude, and he always remains relevant. He always remains relevant because he's always doing some funny shit outside the ring, whether you like his sense of humor or not. And you can always tell he's being himself. That shit is never just forced. So, go check out the Nando's chicken incident. I actually got some more videos to do and some more stuff to edit. But it's funny how, like I said, Frank Warren didn't show up. And now we see that even though Billy Joe is a Frank Warren represented fighter, this is being billed as a Eddie Hearn event, like straight Eddie Hearn Matchroom USA event. So which means that Billy Joe can fight wherever he wants. He's not tied to BT Sports, which is a good thing, a very, very good thing. Because now it's like, whoever wins this, whatever happens, they may be revisiting a fight with him versus James DeGale. So for example, let's say if Billy Joe wins, right? he's going to go after the winner and or loser of Canelo Golovkin. If he doesn't get any of those, then, you know, he's going to likely probably go after a fight with James DeGale if James DeGale keeps winning. James DeGale wants to fight Rocky Felding for that WBA underling world title. Demetrius Andrade, if he wins, he's going to stay at 160, and they're really going to try to pursue him to get Golovkin or Canelo before Eddie Hearn tries to match him up with, you know, an in-house fighter like Danny Jacobs. You know, so don't get me wrong. I think that he would make Danny Jacobs versus Demetrius Andrade, but I feel that he would try to get both of those fighters, obviously, which he should, you know, Canelo or Golovkin, before he has them fight each other. You know, he would say how it has to build up. You know, I see it, you know. But shout out to Donnell Haynes, who went to the press conference for Fight View 360. So I'm interested to see what kind of content we're going to have. I might pop out there during Fight Week. I'm not quite sure for the final press conference. I'm not quite sure. But, you know, I am planning the events now that I'm going to be attending. So right now it's August the 24th, 4:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The press conference ended about an hour or so ago. Please subscribe. Links to my social media right there below in the description box. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live.